All right, let's take another look at adjusting georeferencing point data. And what I'd like to do is to bring in some Google information to assist us with alignment, but and then also to take a little piece of satellite imagery from Google to bring in. Again, this is our Finger Lakes, New York project to investigate some camping in the Finger Lakes National Forest. What we've done so far is we've brought in a PDF of the local area and converted it to a JPEG and then aligned it. And then we've focused in a smaller area here where there's a campground and brought that in. Then we've brought in from Google actually some terrain data so that we can investigate what the slope data would be around this particular campground. So if we were going to be hiking, to know what kind of trail difficulty we may have. So what I'd like to do now is to bring in Google as a whole, and this is a plugin. It's a plugin that is the openlayers plugin, and what this allows us to do is that as long as we're connected to the internet, we can bring in Google layers. And so what I would like to bring in is the satellite layer from Google. So now I have overlaid on my document the satellite layer, and if I go to full extent now you'll see that I have the entire planet. So not wanting the entire planet, I may just want to focus on just this small area that we have an interest in. So getting back down here, I can turn on the campground area and drag that up on top of Google, and so you can see that's the area that we really are interested in. So we're going to home in on this a little bit. And so the thought here is now that I have the entire planet, and you can see that it's showing up a little bit slowly. So what I'd like to do is to bring in just a small area and align that to this. So I'm going to go back over to my Google Maps, and in Google Maps I'm going to come in on this area where the campgrounds would be. So here's the local area, and we could get very close here if we wanted. Like we could focus on just this sort of pond area here that didn't show up on the water category. So I'm going to go grab this as a snippet. And then save it as a JPEG. Okay, then going back to QGIS now, you can turn off the campground here. It's this pond right here that I'm particularly interested in. So I'm going to scroll until I get approximately the same size as what I've had before on my Google projects, and now I'm going to go into the georeferencer and discard those guys. And I'll bring in the pond JPEG. So now the trick is to essentially line up the pond that I've extracted from Google Earth with the Google Earth overlay. So it should be a one-to-one mapping in this case, so it should be very helpful. So I'm going to pick that point on the pond, and I'll pick that same point on the pond here. I'll pick the intersection of the trail and the road here, and the intersection of the trail and the road there. This round end of the pond here. Around it. sure we're in the right place. So we can see by the scenario here of the distortion that it's probably a very poor transformation. So I think we should. You can see we could literally get down to do this tree by tree. Try that again. So we'll add a point. Maybe we'll take this car. Now you may notice that the resolution is a little bit better on the active Google layer, and that's because we had to take a snippet, and so the quality of our snippet was not quite as good as the quality that we can get from Google. And the resolution will vary with the magnification in Google. And I think we'll do a linear transformation here. Modified 2. So now we have modified 2 laying on top of the satellite image. And you can see it's pretty good. So now by turning this the satellite off, you can see how much quicker the project will render. So we've managed to use the satellite layer just to help us do the alignments. We were very, very accurate. We could go right to that car and so on. But the downside to this is, of course, is that the digitization of our snippet limits the overall resolution. And that gives us a fairly good overview of this camping area. We can see where the water is around the camping area. We can turn that off and see what the terrain is like surrounding the camping area. For example, if we decide to take a hike this way, we're going to go down into a little ravine here. We can look at the facilities that might be available to us here in the park. It's kind of a coarse resolution description of the campground, and then we have a blown up area of that where we can look a little bit closer to that and take a look at where we're going to be, the names of the trails and so on. Okay. We would probably then want to remove the Google satellite from the project so that it functions fairly quickly. And we'd want to remove this other pond.